They don't say it to your face, but you can feel it. Society has quietly written you off. The unspoken message is clear. If you haven't made it by 30, you're probably never going to. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to believe that. You scroll through endless feeds, people younger than you, rising fast, going viral, collecting money, attention, status. And a whisper echoes in the back of your mind. Maybe I missed my chance. But hear me clearly. That whisper is not truth. It's programming. It's residue from a culture obsessed with speed, applause, and premature crowns. You are not late. You were never late. You were simply building the kind of fire that doesn't flare out. It endures.
Somewhere along the way, someone told you that life peaks young, that your best ideas, your sharpest energy, and your most valuable years expire before your brain has even fully matured. You see it everywhere, on Hollywood screens, in job postings, in stories about teenage billionaires. It's in the way people tilt their head when you say you're still chasing dreams in your 40s or 50s, as if ambition had an expiration date. But let's ask the real question. Who taught us that? And why did we believe it? The truth is, it was never fact. It was marketing. It was cultural hypnosis. A world addicted to speed had to sell you the illusion that fast equals successful. And you bought it. Because when you're young, you think urgency means importance. You think being loud means being valuable. You think sprinting means you're actually moving forward. But you're not. You're just afraid of being left behind. And that is the lie. Not that you failed, but that speed was ever the measure of worth. So let's step back and look closer. What does youth really bring? Energy? Yes. Confidence? Maybe. But also fragility. A fragile identity built on validation. A fragile sense of worth built on applause. Late bloomers are different. They've tasted silence. They've endured invisibility. They've walked through rejection and kept moving. They don't build for attention anymore. They build for meaning. And meaning lasts longer than hype. That's why late bloomers are secretly dangerous. They don't crave the spotlight. They don't rush for applause. They plant roots so deep that when they finally rise, nothing can shake them. And maybe that's you. Quiet, steady, not noticed yet. But when you move, you won't sprint. You'll walk, and every step will shake the ground beneath you. Think about the stories they rarely tell you. Colonel Sanders, at 65, when most people are preparing to slow down, he was just starting. Before that, failure after failure, business after business collapsing, doors closing in his face. But he refused to surrender. And his empire wasn't born out of speed. It was born out of vision, persistence, timing. Or Vera Wang. She didn't design her first dress until she was 40. She had been a skater, a journalist, an editor, multiple lives before the one she was meant to live. And when her vision finally crystallized, it wasn't noise, it was depth. Now, her name defines an entire industry. And she is not alone. Julia Child published her first cookbook at 50,
Ray Kroc was in his 50s when he turned McDonald's into a global empire. Toni Morrison published her first novel at 39 and later won the Nobel Prize. These are not exceptions, they are reminders. Success does not come early or late. It comes when you are ready.
Carl Jung once called it individuation, the process of becoming your true self. But here's the secret. That rarely happens in your 20s. Because in your 20s, you're still wearing masks. Masks handed to you by family, by school, by culture. You don't even know who you are yet. It's only later, when the masks begin to crack, that your authentic self starts to emerge. That's when the fire begins to burn. That's when your vision sharpens, your voice steadies, your conviction becomes unshakable. And this is where the late bloomer wins. Because success without self-awareness creates arrogance, but success after failure creates humility. One builds ego, the other builds endurance. And humility with endurance, that combination is unstoppable. Let's be honest, the greatest battle isn't out there, it's in here. Your enemy is not time. It's the script you've been repeating to yourself for years. I'm too old. It's too late. Maybe if I had started sooner. Those are not facts. They're commands. And here's the danger. Your subconscious obeys every command you give it, without question, without hesitation. Napoleon Hill called it autosuggestion, the law that repetition creates reality.
Most people don't even realize they've been practicing autosuggestion their whole life. But not with affirmations, with self-sabotage. They've rehearsed their limitations so often, they've turned them into an identity. I've always been bad with money. I'm not confident. I'm not a risk taker. No, that's not who you are. That's just who you've practiced being. And practice can be rewritten. The new script begins here. I'm not late. I'm exactly on time. My scars are my experience. My delays are my depth. I'm not behind. I'm prepared. At first, it will feel fake. Good. That means it's new. You're not lying. You're leading. You're not pretending. You're rehearsing. And every belief worth living always begins with resistance. But it's not only your inner voice that writes your story. It's the voices around you. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. If you surround yourself with people who speak limitation, you will think in limitation. If your closest relationships are built on regret and nostalgia, your mindset will be built on decay. Toxicity doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers.
At our age, you can't expect much anymore. Be realistic. Starting over now is too risky. You should just be grateful for what you already have. These are not opinions. They are viruses, spoken softly enough that you don't notice until they've taken root in your identity. Protecting yourself doesn't mean abandoning everyone you love. It means becoming a gatekeeper of your energy. Boundaries don't say, "I don't care about you." They say, "I can't afford your influence right now." Because here's the truth. Environment always wins over willpower. There is a stage in every transformation that nobody talks about. It isn't glamorous. It isn't inspiring. It doesn't look good on a camera. But it's the most important part. It's the void, the in-between, the moment when you've let go of who you were but haven't yet stepped into who you're becoming. No titles, no applause, no clarity. Just silence. And most people quit here, not because they're weak, but because they mistake being undefined for being lost. But you're not lost. You're being rewritten. Think of a seed underground. No light, no recognition. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Structure is taking shape. A new identity is being built where no one can see it. That's the void. And if you endure it, when you finally re-emerge, you don't come back improved. You come back transformed.
We live in a noisy world. Everyone is building fast, posting more, shouting louder. Success is measured by followers, not by foundation. But here's the truth. Speed without structure collapses. Style without substance fades. And that's why the world needs late bloomers, not to compete in noise, but to bring depth. Not to trend, but to become timeless. Because late bloomers don't move for validation, they move for vision. They've already failed, they've already survived silence, they've already been invisible. And that's exactly what makes them unshakable. Early success screams for attention. Late success builds foundations, and foundations last. Here's the secret. Early success is about proving yourself. Late blooming is about offering yourself. One is driven by ego, the other by legacy. And legacy doesn't chase applause. Legacy asks only one thing: will it last? When your success comes before your identity, you end up building a life that doesn't belong to you. You perform, you please. You run fast, but you don't know where you're going. And when the applause fades, so do you. But late bloomers? They've already lived through silence. They've already survived invisibility. They don't build for attention, they build for depth. And when they finally rise, they don't sprint. They walk. And every step shakes the ground beneath them. So if you're quiet right now, off the radar, invisible, good. Stay there. Let the silence refine you. Let the void reconstruct you. Because when you return, you won't come back recognizable. You'll come back unavoidable. You don't need trophies for healing. You don't need applause for rebuilding. The world may not notice your transformation at first, but it won't be able to ignore you when you step forward. Steady, silent, undeniable. You are not late. You are right on time.
And the fire you've been building all these years? The world hasn't seen it yet, but it's about to. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it in silence. Share it with someone who feels like they're running out of time. Because they're not late either. They're right on time. And if you're ready for more voices that remind you of your power, subscribe, stay connected, and join me here, because your story is just beginning.